Light boss, bitch, for sure. I listen to the mind of an Terry Smooth. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And waking flights, goddamn. And I had to do this video real quick before I get myself together. You know what I'm saying? Took my daughter to school and shit like that. Then it's time for me to get myself together. But I had to put this video out first. You see what I'm saying? Now check this out. I want to talk about this. I want to explain that everybody are Hindus. So that's what you need to know. This is the default position. Default. So you need to understand the science behind default and why every video game you play or why everything that you have or that men or women create at its standard position is at default. So you need to understand that energy signature. Now, for the most part, when we want to talk about the default position is actually Hinduism. Now, here's where things get kind of fucked up at, because the term Hinduism isn't actually what it is. Hinduism is just a word that was created by people who created the grammatic terms and started to use the voice language of Latin and things of that nature. And these are these kind of people who kind of like Aryans and things of that nature and kind of took what was actually going on as a society and gave it a term, gave it a phrase. You see what I'm saying? So that's all what the term Hinduism is. But what it's actually doing itself, this is what I'm breaking down. Now, for the most part, since it's the first, and I don't want to say religion, but let's say since it's the first kind of idea on trying to explain what we're going through spiritually and things of that nature, it's going to be correlated to the first cloth that we create for ourselves to be aware of ourselves. So if I told you that you have a masculine and feminine energy, right? And let's say the first, that you created your feminine shape and form first. So that would be your Merkaba, your ability to travel through the astral realm, through the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, which is the shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable realm. You see what I'm saying? So that you create your feminine vehicle. So your feminine vehicle would be like your Merkaba, your moon, your womb, and things of that nature. So since we're correlating to something that is first, this would be the first religion, this is going to be more responding to energies that's correlated to what we created first to be aware of ourselves. So we created our subconscious body to be aware of ourselves subconsciously first, so we could have the ability to travel through the higher dimensions and go based upon our state of being and what we resonate with before we start to develop our yang and conscious bodies. Then this lets you know that when we're talking about Hinduism itself and the practices, they're going to be worshiping things that's correlated to those shapes and forms. So once we start to get blood cells get created down the line and civilizations down the line, you're going to start to get the worship of the moon. So once this is one of the physical shapes and forms within this vehicle that y'all want to call Brahma, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. That's the body of it. Then Vishnu, I think, is the spirit of. But before we get into all that, you know what I'm saying, what you need to understand, this is the universal body that you are in, and this spiritual being in its space and this state of being have expanded and contracted to the point that right now it is a universal being. So all the shapes and forms that's coming and deities that's lower within it now is what y'all get now, as far as all the way till y'all get to the Sumerian text. So you get to the Greek, you get to the China, you get to Sumerian and like the Mesopotamians and things of that nature. These are all offsprings. You see what I'm saying? That's what you need to understand also, based upon the true spiritual being. When I'm explaining this, I'm not saying this is the overall God. I'm just saying this is the first spirit within this space and location that you followed here. You followed a spirit that was lesser than this spirit here. This is why you are born within a lower chakra of this being. So you came into the lower waters, the lower wheels, you know what I'm saying? So when you want to actually break down Hinduism itself or the practices of it, this is the first groupings of beings coming out of the water also. So there is like water worship, but it's not really water how y'all see it today. Water is just a energy signature. Like, you got to understand the elements like fire, water, air, and earth. You have to understand the elements to understand this concept I'm breaking down. So when we talk about water itself, this is why the physical shape and form of what y'all will see as water today, or what controls the water, is the moon. But the feminine nature back then, how they were seeing it, was more like the first river, the first star, the first current. This is why I'm telling y'all, each star is a current, is a wheel, a chakra, is a body, it's a water that flows in a certain current, and that current in that direction let you know what's with the spirit that's in that current, how the energetic that is, the direction of it, the idea, the personality of that spirit. You're only going to be able to see it through its current. And that current start to create shapes and forms out of that current. And how that current is going to correlate the shapes and forms out of it. And that's how the shapes and forms is going to look. And that's how the spirals is going to look out of it. You know what I'm saying? And based upon the energy you pick up from it, that's going to let you know what kind of persons is controlling that. Person, that spirit, the space that's resigning right there at the moment. You know what I'm saying? That spirit. You know? So for the most part, once you start to see this is the first cloth that's created, so it'll be the first river, the first Merkaba, the first moon. So it's going to be the first sight, the first ability to see. You know, seas is like sea. You know what I'm saying? So seas. So this is like the first river before we start to get the river flowing into other areas, and we start to get the offsprings of other lives. So once we start to talk about astrology, we're talking about the elements of planetary alignments, aka current stars, currents, bodies of water alignments. So and then the currents create spectrums of transformation, which cause shifts, and shifts is what y'all think is light and photons and shit like that, but it's really just a form of transformation that you're seeing before your eyes. And when you're seeing a transformation that's beyond your spectrum, to you just see it as light spectrum or wave spectrum or frequency vibration spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Or outing or something. So for the most part, this is where we're talking about the practices. So there was practicing how to subconsciously train yourself. So this is where we start to get into the understandings of being able to learn how to incarnate, aka create your own river, create your own stream. You know what I'm saying? Before you create other rivers and other lives come on. So because when you get certain alignments, certain currents, once it flow out, that's a different alignment, different planetary system, different current, different water, different life, different the way it's aligning and current and all the molecules going with each other. The life that come out of it is going to resonate with that. So based upon environment, this is why you resonate with your environment, and you need the things from your environment to sustain yourself as a species. You see what I'm saying? Because this is how you're developing out of each water. So once you start to get into races, this is another story that I'm trying to explain to y'all, is based upon your experience and shared experiences as the spirits. Your spirit ain't no race, but based upon shared experiences, and when you all traveled here amongst what water and seas that you came up, you develop out of that location, and that location is how you develop your physical shape and form. So as spirits, we all came here as a glump over the waters, right? But based upon the area and what river we have got into, right, that's going to be what kind of shape and form we create. So we're all creating the same shape and form. Is this your shape and form may have a different shade than another shape and form, and then it determines certain spirits came here before other spirits, so the shapes and form that they created may have been under the alignment, under the bodies of currents, when it was just the Saturn current here in this current. Then you got other beings come here. It's like we all came here with the same familiarity, so we all creating the same, we got the same experiences, so we in the same stream, and it goes to the lightest frequency to the heaviest frequency, to the point that we're all in the same space and location. Then it comes to we all born in through the same waters and the rivers. Then once it's spread out, then it comes to we all have to share the same line of events. Then it goes lower vibrational frequency wise than that, to the point that you end up sharing the same stream with someone else, aka the same bloodline. You know what I'm saying? Then to the point it gets even lower than that. You know what I'm saying? This is manifestations of shit, but I'm trying to get y'all to clearly understand that in the higher realms, your spirit don't have anything to do with that. Your spirit is just experiencing, and based upon what other space, aka your spirit, you are experiencing things with. Your spirit is no thing, it's your space, no shape and form. Not nothing how scientists is teaching you. So when you're sharing your space, sharing your spirit with other people, y'all are sharing the experience. Now the lesser the life, the lesser the vehicle, the lesser the gas that your spirit create. That means the lesser the light that you imagine, based upon if you are a young spirit. That's what y'all gonna go into, and y'all gonna share those type of experiences together. You know what I'm saying? So the realm of reality that y'all create, y'all gonna do similar type things, but in your own individual type way, because you still have your own space, you still have your own spirit. You see what I'm saying? So you have a true understanding that you're no thing. So once we get into Hinduism, which is this a term that's made to understand that this is a default practice that everyone is doing. You see what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, this is understanding how to train your subconscious. So since this is dealing with the river, the first river and the first water, this is going to be dealing with the creation of your first body you created for yourself to experience this realm of reality. Your moon, your first river, your first spark of your current. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. Your first ability to suck in yourself, your first ability to emit hydrogen, aka your first thought and idea to be aware of yourself, and then to hone in on it. Use your helium. Therefore, you created a drain or spiral system that can develop of what the Hindus is actually trying to talk about. Where they probably don't even know what they're talking about. But I'm Archangel Uriel. See what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, so all my Hindus out there, y'all probably know my name in y'all language, but for the most part, this is going to be correlated with moon worship. So any type of deity that they create is just backed and supported by the moon energy. So that's what you need to know. So whether it's Brahma, Vishnu, or whatever, this, that, and the third, all you have to do is just get into flight astrology or get into understanding what does the moon represent, and then you will understand the whole the whole Hinduism practice as a whole itself. So it wouldn't be that far of a stretch if I was to say that they worship any deity on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Because Monday is the day of the moon. You know what I'm saying? That moon day, that the influence of that daemon, the influence of that spectrum. So that's why Monday is correlated to the new first day, which really, you see what I'm saying? They try to correlate it to Saturday, where Sunday and Monday is a relationship, and really days expand from when days used to be 10 days, when when Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto was a lot closer to this realm that we was in at the moment right now as far as the chakra wheel. So that's when we could actually have access of having a full totality of 10 days per week. But since those planets have scattered away, right, are based upon the space we're still in our space, and things is expanding and contracting, so we had to shorten up the time, you know what I'm saying, to the 7 days, because we have 7 closer chakras that's emitting their light spectrums for that totality of that experience, that time that we go through that period, so we can still calculate that, you know what I'm saying. So we'll be a fool to try to not. This is why we had a leap year years. This is why we have the calendars and things of that nature. You have people who are into what the fuck I'm talking about and understand possessions. The progressions and shit like that. Whatever the words that y'all use for when things go back and forth like that, they understand what I'm talking about. So this is the reason why the calendars get shifted. So this is not a circumstance or situation where y'all want to be like, oh, y'all see people making up the calendars, we're on fake time. No, you got people who understand what's going on. You got astrotheologists and astronomers and shit who understand what's going on. So we have to do these things. Otherwise, we'll be living out of time. We'll be living out of whack. We'll be living out of current. So you need to actually appreciate astronomers and people who calculate the time of the planetary travels and things of that nature. Because without that, you motherfuckers will be living on false times. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind also. But getting back to Hinduism and things of that nature, all you need to know is this understanding what the moon represents, and then you will be able to understand the practices, and then you will be able to dive deeper into your subconscious realm. So it's really trying to train your subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? So you can understand the ability to incarnate and detach from the ability of reincarnating. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it's trying to get you to understand. Because carnation is being created by this right here, by the imagination. Because the imagination is your fire. So for you to have a fire, that's your imagination. For you to hone in on it, that's for you to see it. So that's for you to take an image and make it an imagery. That's for you to make an imagination. That's for you to take a picture, which is the fire, and make that picture a motion picture, which is a movie. So that's what comes the water. So the fire gets condensed and hone in on it now. So now you got the water and things of that nature. Now it's time telling you to construct it and analyze this 360 that you have created for yourself, which is this space. So, you know, with this fire, it's telling you to take your water, and that's your imagination and things of that nature. That's your moon, that's your Merkaba, that's your ability to travel within that space. You see what I'm saying? So once you take that fire, make it water, Now you could cool it off. Cool it off with air, intellect, coldness. You know what I'm saying? Freeze it. You could freeze that motion picture into an emotional feeling that you could jump into, aka a spaceship. Now it's hardened. Now you have a hardened sense of yourself. You see what I'm saying? A hardened sense of your reality. Now it can become physical, which is earth. You know what I'm saying? But when we get back to these times, hold on, I'm getting a text. Hold on 1 second. All right, my bad. So yeah, I'll take care of something. But yeah, your ability to incarnate, like I said, where I was at, yeah, the fire. So yeah, your fire, your imagination, that's your ability to incarnate. You know what I'm saying? Because that's your ability to emit hydrogen. You know what I'm saying? Then your ability to hone in on it is your ability to use your helium, which is the water. So this is why this take you internal, subconscious realm, and then you're able to float when you bounce back and forth from that. So now it's like you have wings. You're able to fly, and then once you're in that 360, you're able to have a mentality. That's why it's a firmament. Was firm, right? Creates your mentality. So this is your firmament. So when you become too firm, you have you're not able to have the higher waters come in through your canopy. So sometimes don't be too firm, but you know, to create a certain mentality about your space. Therefore, don't get redirected by someone else's space, and therefore they lead you off a cliff and destroy your spaceship. So having kind of pure conviction and having a thought form and rationality about your true space is you creating air. Now you're creating mentality. You creating H2O. You're creating a little bit of a piece that your water can go into. So it can travel within realms of reality. So you're creating a spaceship, a shape and form. And the more idea you add to it, it can become solid. And then now you're utilizing your earth. So once you understand carnation, the understanding of carnation is the understanding of creation of matter. So we're creating the yang realm. This is letting you know subconsciously, yin wise, we're creating the yang realm. So what matters to you, aka if your imagination, which is your fire, then you hone in on it, which is your water, create structure around it, which is your air, built on it, which is your earth. And the moment that you do that, it had to have been something that mattered to you for you to go through that whole process. Otherwise, you would have kept it in your fire realm. It would have came and went. You see what I'm saying? But you didn't. You let it go in you, and you let it become fluid. So now you are experiencing, and now once you experience it, that vibration for a long period of time, you actually can start to rationalize and pay attention to your surroundings with intellect and rationalizing and use your intellect, aka your air. Now it becomes air, which is some type of shit that they had to put in it, like gaslight, you see what I'm saying? And then once that can correlate, it can become solid, which is the tube. The thing is the container of it, which is the earth, right? So now it's a matter. It's solid. It appears to be solid in this realm of reality. So first something has to matter to you, then that's how you create actual matter. So if all of us as spirits in a space and location with things mattering to us, then as a collective conscious, we create matter. So this is where things can become into fruition. So if money matters to you, this is why money is a real thing right now. Because we have created the actual matter and material of it in this physical realm. So we're putting the energy signature behind it, but now we can actually see the physical matter of it. But first, it just mattered to us. So we understand that money isn't really what's actually happening. What's actually happening is there's a bargain and gaining system. And in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, we're all spiritually rich. So we have certain things that matter to us as far as our space, our spirit matters to us. So a lot of times we utilize our currency to sustain our space. Otherwise, once our space get too cluttered, shit get fucked up. You know what I'm saying? We feel the need to escape. So that manifests in the third dimension wise as you taking the physical representation of currency, which will be money, to buy a physical representation of land, which is your space for you to be in. Therefore, you don't got cars running into your yard. You don't got people running in and out of your house and shit like that. And you have your own space. AKA, like I said, in physical terms, we're not doing nothing but mimicking what the spirit is already doing. And the spirit just wants to live in its creations and its imagination, aka its dream, a lot longer. So this is the dream world, the physical world. When you wake up, this is the dream world, and as a spirits, we're creating new technologies to sustain the yang period, the expansion period, the masculine period, the light period, the life period. We're trying to sustain the awake period for longer periods of time. You know what I'm saying? So right now, this is the vehicle and how many years you created now as a spirit. So this lets you know what kind of evolution you are spiritually and what kind of technology you are having. So when we have things like when we talk about levels of lives and things of that nature, how the Hindus try to explain it when you got the pyramid and you know like the lowest level is the peasants and the servants and shit like that. Then you start to get to the highest level, which is the Brahmas and people who have actually spiritual knowledge and things. And under it, you got like kings and lords or something like that, but these are the highest vibrational frequencies when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, as Archangel Uriel, I'm above all that shit, but I'm just trying to tell y'all how to get on these paths, you know what I'm saying? And then you got people in today's time who try to actually bring these energies in also, where you got like scales and things of that nature. I forgot what they call that. And then you got another motherfucker who have systems of evolution. Then you got the esoteric sciences. There's many different knowledges, but they all doing the same thing. So you got religious people arguing with scientists, and they both doing the same fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? You just have a religious person doing it from a right brain nature, and you have a scientist person doing it from a left brain nature. But once you get into this, once you get down into this vibration, everything is like a zigzag. So what may be negative and positive up here is in reverse down here, and it keeps doing that. The higher you go and the lower you go. So down here, the left brain down here would be more correlated to the Satan, and then your reptilian brain inside of you and things of that nature, and then the right brain will be more correlated to the getting to the heavens and getting within yourself to understand the true spirit nature, because God define anything, define God. God is a location, it's a parameter, and you ain't gonna find it in the external realm. You only gonna find it in the yin realm, and you only gonna get to the yin realm by going within yourself. So you're only gonna find it internal. So down here, so you know what I'm saying, the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, we emit first, we push out first. So that is hell. So in the third dimension, this is why y'all have to go through hell to get to heaven, because y'all heaven is the hell that spirits and Archangel Uriel that we was already cast into to live out our experiences, just because we wanted to create a shape and form as Elohims and shit like that. So now we all lost as wandering stars. So as wandering stars, these are the physical shapes and forms we're creating for ourselves to experience the realm of reality. Now I'm getting fourth and fifth and sixth dimension. No, I'm telling y'all what it is right now. Not y'all lostness. I'm not going to make it sound sweet for y'all in the third dimension, let y'all know y'all going to heaven. I'm going to get it what it really is right now. So right now, as motherfucking shapes and forms, motherfucker, we kind of stuck as stars. So I got to teach y'all how to be stars so y'all can kind of go through hell to get out of this shit. But this is what it really is. You know, as a wandering star, you can either be two things. You know what I'm saying? You can either be lost or you can either be rebellious. So for you to even be a star in general, you wouldn't be in no memory, and you are a blood cell right now. So for the most part, when you even look at like me and people like jury and stuff like that, spirits like to create things. This is because you're evolving technology. This is how you look like a star. Buildings and technology and shit like that, you look like a star. You know what I'm saying? Because you're becoming a star, ascending. People who try to attach to regular tree life and things like that and go back in super nature and shit like that, you want to sustain as a blood cell. You living as a blood cell. Now you need to know, as organisms and spiritually, you need to expand. So spiritually, you're not expanding. So you're not understanding the withdrawals and the hardships. So you're not developing no spiritual strength and things of that nature when you want to sustain as a blood cell and want to sustain as a succubi or a parasite, because you're not developing the spiritual nature of learning how to live and sustain life on your own. But you come from a spirit that have done that first. That's why you're even on that path in the first place, to learn how to sustain on your own. So it's important for all blood cells to learn how to sustain on their own. Therefore, whatever being that they live in, whenever it die, you still know how to sustain your own spiritual nature, and you don't go down wherever this spirit is going down with it if it's lost. This is real deep shit, you know what I'm saying? But this Hindus understand this to a small degree. But this is the highest spiritual nature you're going to get, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm coming down here for y'all. Now, like I said, as a wandering star, right? As a spirit, you wanted to create, box yourself out. This is where the seven nature come from, all the seven rays. The first physical shapes and forms of any type of spiritual being coming from the seventh, eighth, and ninth dimension. You know what I'm saying? The first physical shapes and forms is going to be always a seven spectrum, a seven seas, a seven something, seven rivers, seven something, you seven chakras, seven, because you know this is the first energy signature. We box ourselves out, right? Because seven is not a number. It's just a motherfucking frequency vibration. So reason why it became seven is because you got a bunch of spirits that want to be an individual, aka maintain a space and location without being bothered. So this is where y'all get all that science coming from. And so for the most part, this is where the 1, 4, and 7 comes into play. And this is why 4 represents the squaring itself, the boxing itself out, and for it can move in its own space, aka create the square in its realm of reality, its 360, in its subconscious realm, in its yin. It created the yang and its yin. The ability to live in your own world. You see what I'm saying? You got woo. So for the most part, now when you get this being coming from the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension, you get the frequency vibration of this being wanting to come an individual, coming from the 9th realm out of the zero to be born into a lower realm of reality, aka a physical flesh and fluid, a stream, a bloodstream it created for itself, an imagination to hone itself into. You see what I'm saying? So once it does this, right, it puts itself in a situation where it boxes itself out from the 7th, 8th, 9th dimension, makes itself an individual. It becomes the one, the Neo, the hero out of the zero. You know what I'm saying? This is why I'm coming with the album Design Ship. You see what I'm saying? It's all correlating. So for the most part, it comes from the 9, going to the 0, becomes a 1, an individual. Now it has to go into now is developing the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, right? By boxing itself, by default, because once you become an individual, that's the 1, that's the line, that's the I, that's the L. This is why the 1, the L, and the I all look the same, and it creates the 1, 2, 3, which is the Trinity, which that's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's all correlated to the spirit, soul, body, frequency, vibration, energy, and you know what I'm saying? Unconscious, subconscious, conscious. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And the unconscious, the yin, the yang. You know what I'm saying? Frequency, vibration, energy. You know what I'm saying? Gas, liquid, solid. You know what I'm saying? But you need to know the third one that I'm saying, all that is the creation. That's the vessel. That's the vehicle. That's the robot. You are not that. You're the first two of all the ones that I'm saying, like the frequency, vibration, the spirit and the soul. You know what I'm saying? The unconscious, subconscious. You know what I'm saying? This is all that fire, water mixing in together to create the air and the earth for itself. The air and the earth is all tied to the energy. Energy came last. Frequency, vibration, then energy. You know what I'm saying? So you need to understand that. Then the second is always the duality that we create within ourselves to create the third spectrum. So look, we come in the third dimension, right? So once you come into the third dimension, but for the most part, you're creating the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension for yourself once you box yourself out as a 7th, 8th, and 9th dimensional being. So that means you do this. You do this spiritually as an alignment, though. This is the first early stages of astrology when we're just trying to relate as spirits, and we're rotating as far as rotating around each other, causing relations, which cause relationships and can lead into you having relatives, because we're doing things that's relative to the space that we are in, aka the experience that we're manifesting. But for the most part, which is shapes and forms. The first lightest shape and form is situations. Now, for the most part, once you box yourself out, you did that as a spirit, right? Now you become an individual because you're in your own darkness now, your own waters, right? Now you want to be born, at least find a light of your own self. This is what spirit's supposed to be doing, but now y'all following other spirits that did that before y'all, so y'all rude and be lost in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. But for the most part, boom, you do that, and then now you become one, an individual. So now you start to develop your 4th dimensional body, which is your mentality, your understanding, and logically to be aware of yourself. You start emitting light. This is why 4 represents the masculine energy too, and once you reach the 4th dimension, this is where you start to push out. You're truly in your masculine energy, not just a shape and form of it in a lesser realm like the 1, 2, and 3 dimension. You see what I'm saying? And then for the most part, you're acting instead of reacting first. So you're pushing out, learning how to see in the dark, learning how to understand your dream, and that's what you are and shit like that. So you ever are what you want to be. You walk through walls and every kind of shit. So for the most part, that's when you become the 4. You start to you box yourself out, become the 1, and then that is by subconscious. Now you are the 1. Now you have to do your Trinity. So once you box yourself out from the 7, you become an individual, which is the Neo, the 1. Now you have to gain your bodies, right? Your masculine, feminine, and become a whole. So by nature, that automatically jumps you out of the spirit, and now that creates the square. You know what I'm saying? Your imagination honing in your body, your Trinity, and then automatically that's your 4. That's where the square come from. But that's why it just appears to be that it's the triangle, and you're just the person controlling that triangle. By default, it's the 4. So you the center space, and you create your 4 waters. This shit is deep. I'm telling you, my mind, I wish I could just take y'all and go where I'm at so I don't have to explain nothing. Y'all can just see it and come back here and be like, oh, okay, I know what we doing now. You see what I'm saying? But look, for the most part, then that's when you had the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimensional realm now. Because now that you are masculine, now you want to understand your duality nature there. So that's 5th dimension, understanding your vibe, your emotion, your subconscious, your true subconscious, and then you could become a physical shape and form there. A 6th dimensional being, which is just a higher representation of a 3rd dimensional being here. So you got animals, you got bugs, so you got higher octaves of that. So we start to get into concepts of oversoul, you know what I'm saying, being birthed through the soul. That's why the bottom, the heaven is through below, through the soul of the feet, the sole of the shoes. So that's when the sun go through the souls, it's actually rising. Y'all think it's setting, but it's going. Man, this shit is motherfucking deep. You know what I'm saying? This is why you lose life. You feel like you need to go to sleep, but your spirit is actually rising, and your body fall in a direction that your spirit is rising in. So y'all have been led by a spirit, following it, thinking your spirit leave the body and go up to hell. But really your spirit be like, hold on, we supposed to go down this way. We supposed to go the way the drain going. But your spirit get lost. Get lost by one of these motherfuckers, and guess what? One of these motherfuckers remix your ass like dope and put you back here. Put you back into another shape and form here. So you think you going up rising somewhere, and these motherfuckers just trying to maintain this space and location here. That's more deeper than hell. You get it? This shit is hard, man. But look, check this out. I gotta come back on Earth for y'all, because I'm starting to talk fast. And the average logical person may not get all this information. So like I said, once that spiritual beings, you come here and separate yourself and come here. Now you like Elohim and shit. You got your own realm, your own space to have blood cells within you, live within you and shit. Now you a Christ or a Flights or, you know what I'm saying, you a Buddhist or, you know what I'm saying, you one of these motherfuckers now. But you need to understand this. For the most part, I just threw in there Flights real quick because, you know, that's how I be feeling about, you know what I'm saying. You know, I'm with y'all soul group of this motherfucker, this shit. But look, check this out. When motherfuckers come here, this is what all y'all need to be doing. You all got this power. God damn it. Now, like I said, once you create your seeds, you come here and be a motherfucking individual and things of that nature. And now, once you in this space, now you a wandering star. You're in a physical shape and form in this heavy. We all done created this water based upon our relationship with each other. So we all created vibes, and once that got manifested, it manifested into fluids. So this is why fluids is the realm of imagination, the seas and things of that nature. So that's what became the rainbow waters. Us rotating our space within each other. So all of us fighting for space is what the rainbow waters is. You know what I'm saying? This is why everybody fighting for space, fighting for position, no matter what degree it is, on a small scale to a large scale. Now, for the most part. Now, as spirits, now we sitting here. Now, once you get into a star, you're a wandering star. So if you are a wandering star, which means you're lost in hell and you're not going, you know what I'm saying, and you're remixing it, having other people following you, thinking they're going up and shit. A wandering star, you could only be a wandering star, which you are a blood cell right now. So in this body, so yeah, you are a star. So you are a wandering star. You wouldn't be here if you wasn't wandering as a spirit. So you can only be here from two ways. You can only be a wandering star, a wandering blood cell from two ways. Following a bloodstream from two ways. You either was rebellious or follower. That's the only way you was here. No other way. You either was rebellious or a follower, and that's how you became a wandering star. You see what I'm saying? Now, for the most part, if you are a follower, you need to find your own way. That's your path here spiritually. And if you are, you need to learn how to find your own way. And the spirit you was following is going to put you through a whole bunch of circumstances, situations that make you realize that. So you realize like, oh, goddamn, I got to get back on my own path. Shit, this nigga lead me on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? And then if you came here as a wandering star because you are rebellious, then you need to learn how to get along again. You know what I'm saying? You need to learn how to stop. Don't go too far out. I'm saying don't go too far out, because going too far out, you might never find your path again to lead back. So both wandering stars lose their path. One is rebellious and goes so far out, they need a map now. They lost themselves into themselves. And then the other one who's followed so much to the point that they realize that wasn't really them. And they need to find themselves again. Because whatever circumstance that they're creating for themselves by following this spirit is putting their own spirit in Dalmatian, aka manifesting a whole bunch of dumb circumstances and situations. So, you see what I'm saying? So, it's important to find yourself, anchor yourself in every realm of reality. Therefore, you don't become rebellious, or you don't become lost. So, you don't be a wandering star. You don't become a lost motherfucker. So, you don't become a motherfucker following a lost star. You don't be lost. You find yourself, and you create your own map. My soul group ain't no lost fucking stars out this motherfucker. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air. I love y'all. Now I'm gonna wash my ass.